booktubers, I'm back with another video, and I know it's been a really long time, but I have a book haul, so that should sort of make up for things. I have been buying books here and there within the past couple of months, but these ones are the ones that I picked up fairly recently, and I'm going to show you those ones. They're a very eclectic mix of books, some sci-fi, some non-fiction, and some just contemporary fiction. I will show you because I miss you guys and I need to make more videos. So one of the very first books that I picked up was Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This is my very first Murakami book, and I am almost halfway through it. More than halfway through it, almost done actually. I've been reading this for a couple of days now, and I feel like it's a type of book that you can't sort of read really quickly. You have to read it in very small doses, but I absolutely adore it. The writing is fantastic, and just the overall plot line is just ultra dramatic and melancholic, and I really like this. Yeah. Speaking of melancholy, I ended up picking up this short story sci-fi book by Catherine M. Valente, which is the author of the children's Fairyland series. The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making is the first book in that series, and if you guys remember, that is one of my very favorite books this year. She's actually a very well-known fantasy and sci-fi writer. This is called The Melancholy of Mecha Girl, which is a series of short stories, and they all have sort of a Japanese theme to it, and the cover is just mesmerizing. I don't know if you can see it. It's really lovely. I'm actually super excited to read this because, for one, I've been really getting into short stories a lot and sci-fi slowly, and this just seems sort of like a really interesting combination of those two, so I'm looking forward to reading that. This is like another sort of fantasy sci-fi book. I'm not really sure where to categorize this. I'm not sure if this is in just the regular contemporary fiction section or in the like fantasy sci-fi section, but it is Flowers of Algernon by Danielle Keyes, and it is supposed to be like a classic of a sort. It's a fairly recent book, but it's already been deemed a cult classic. A lot of people have been telling me about this, and I'm sort of intrigued because it's essentially about a character who has an unusually low IQ, and he basically goes through a series of medical or scientific experiments that make him a genius. I think this sounds really interesting, and I know there's a movie on this which I'm interested in watching as well. So yeah. Another fiction book that was sort of deemed a cult classic is The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. This is a big book, and Michael Chabon, I think is how you say his name, is a fairly famous author. It is a beast though. It is like 700 pages. I don't know why I buy really big books when I usually don't tend to go for them when I'm like trying to select the next book to read, and there are these really daunting books just sitting on my shelf that are so weighty and taking up so much space, and I just sort of veer away from that area and go to like some of those slimmer looking books. But I actually think I'm going to read this next after Norwegian Wood, because I finished my book goal of 75 books, surprisingly, and I feel like I just want to sit there and read slowly. I also ended up picking just another classic, Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. To tell you the truth, I have no idea what this is about, but it's a classic. It's on my list of classics to read, so I got it. And I picked up two non-fiction books. The first one is called A Curious Invitation, The 40 Greatest Parties in Fiction by Suzette Field. The book is really cute and colorful. Essentially it is about it's basically a documentation of all the very famous literary parties. I thought it was an interesting read because essentially it's a book about books, and anybody that is in booktubia has a tendency to love books about books. So this one I actually saw on somebody's profile. I think it was Gina's from An Awkward Reader, and I tend to usually browse her wishlist or her like own pile, because I always see some really spectacular gems in there. And I know that sounds kind of creepy, Gina, but I do it all the time. I hope you don't mind. Last but not least, I saw this at work and I had to get it. It is called The Novel Cure. Essentially, it is bibliotherapy, and it is this beautiful book. It looks exactly like the Penguin Drop Caps editions, like the very first one, I think, the Jane Austen book. And essentially what it is a series of conditions that you would go through, such as depression and anger. And The Cure is a recommendation of a book, and I think that's really neat because it's has a lot of really great lists in here too, but I thought it was really cool and I really like it. Yeah, so that was my book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back with more videos, I promise. And I have already started planning a holiday Christmas list as well as a top 13 of 2013. So you have stuff to look forward to, and I'm excited. So yeah, I love you. Forgive me.